What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon TCG showcase. This is a new series basically where I will be covering, I'm starting off with Pokemon in generations about 1 to 4. I'm basically covering every single common, uncommon, rare, full art, any card they've ever really gotten in English Pokemon TCG. Um, it really just helps me as a person that's new to vending kind of learn the market a little bit more, and also it helps people like you see some cards of maybe some Pokemon you've never seen before. Next episode I will be doing Glaceon, but after that I don't really have anything lined up. So if you guys have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. Like I said, around generations 1 to 4, and I will do a quick little showcase of them. These are supposed to be quicker, like 12, 10 to 15 minute videos of just, kind of showing all the artworks, whether it's your favorite Pokemon and you want to master set them, or maybe you want some cooler artworks that, people might not even have, like, knowledge of, maybe just some cooler, more slept on artworks and, like, your binders and whatnot. But yeah, so today we're going to be doing Heracross, and funny enough, on this website that I use, for some reason, you have to look up Mega different. This is the first Mega that I'm doing. I didn't know this, so I was, like, trying to find them. You have to look up Mega different. So first off, the most recent cards are going to be the ones from Phantasmal Flames here. We have the Mega Heracross EX, just a basic EX. The Mega EXs look okay from the new Mega Evolution era, nothing crazy. Um, you know, that being said, the Mega Evolution Full Arts, I genuinely think that these are awesome cards. I really love how the base Pokemon is in the background. If you haven't seen the Mega Evolution Full Arts, this is kind of the same for all of them. The base Pokemon is in the background, and then you have the Mega Evolved Pokemon in the forefront in like the full color and stuff. But these in person look really, really cool. The colors in the background look awesome. The base Pokemon in the background looks awesome. I think by the time Mega Evolution block for the TCG finishes up, having like all these Mega Evolved cards, full arts in a binder together would be pretty cool looking. I think that would be like a pretty cheap, relatively cheap, obviously there's going to be some probably Gengars and Dragonites and Charizards and stuff, but for the most part it should be relatively cheap, and I think it's going to look really, really nice. But before that, we have just a uncommon from Twilight Masquerade. Nothing crazy. I don't usually spend too much time on these normal or reverse holos. Like, honestly, 99% of the artworks in these little smaller, like, rares and uncommons look nice, but they're all of the modern ones are worth less than a quarter. So, like, if you're doing a master set, you'd barely even have to think about it. Once we get into the older ones, they have some really cool, unique artworks, and then they can obviously start costing a couple more dollars, so we usually spend a little more time on those, but I still do show them off. Now, that being said, this full art from Paldea Evolved, the illustration rare, it is a beautiful card. If you have never really went back and looked at Paldea Evolved, I highly suggest it. I used to not understand why, people liked it so much, compared to a lot of the other sets in Scarlet and Violet, but it just has so many illustration rares. I'm pretty sure it has the most in the whole entire era, and I promise you, every time you go and look at the set like list, you will see an amazing illustration rare that you've never seen before. I promise you. There's like the Fletchinder, the Heracross, I mean, obviously the Magikarp, all the starters. Like, there's just so many beautiful illustration rares in this set, and honestly, like, yeah, it's just so good. I mean, Tyranitar, Raichu, another of the couple top ones, the Mousehold. I mean, this set is stacked when it comes to illustration rares. Like, they're honestly just so good. So, if there's anything from Paldea Evolved you want as well, I would suggest probably buying it now. It is going out of rotation, most likely means out of print within the next couple months, I believe. This is not financial advice, but if you're missing a card or two from Paldea Evolved that you really want, now might be the best time to pick it up for sure. So that's like a $22 card, but it's just beautiful, to be honest. Then we're going to go quickly through some of these other ones. This is just the normal uncommon from Paldea Evolved. Scarlet and Violet base set. He has a lot of very similar cards of him in some action shots with some leaves flying around in the background and whatnot. Astral Radiance, just in a little forest. Again, these cards are all less than a quarter, even in the highest rarity, which are reverse holofoils. This one from Chilling Reign, like I said, I'm not really the biggest fan of these stamps, which is ironic because I really like the stamped cards when it comes to like pre-release kits and stuff like that. I really do like those, but the Single Strike, Rapid Strike, all those ones they were doing back in the Sword and Shield, I'm not the biggest fan of for sure. Then we have one from Rebel Clash here. Nothing crazy. Like I said, I don't usually spend too much time on these guys. or I'm gonna try not to in the future. Cosmic Eclipse. I mean, we're starting to get a little bit older. This is about 7 years old. So then we have this one. This is actually probably one of my favorite base ones. I mean, a lot of his cards are obviously grass type, but he is also fighting type. And so this one to be a fighting type version of Heracross with the picture being a little more orange, them going for like some nice autumn leaf colors. I really do like that one. Probably one of my favorites. We have a pretty basic one here from Ken Sugimori, very you know, famous artist. He's been doing it for a long time. I mean, it's you know, nothing crazy, but it is very unique in that sense. This one from Burning Shadows is probably actually my favorite, like you know, just normal like rare or uncommon, whatever. I think this card's awesome. It's a very cool action shot. I love the orange right here. You have the Team Skull Grunt. This is from Burning Shadows, so it's the Sun and Moon era. Team Skull was the, like, you know, the bad people from Sun and Moon. So I really like this card. This is probably my favorite, just like base card. Then we have back to X and Y Furious Fists. So we have just the base Heracross EX. And funny enough, like I said, you know, you have to pull up Mega Heracross in a different tab because this website doesn't show the Mega Pokemon. Not only do you have to pull up Mega Heracross in a different tab, when you go back to the X and Y era, they were just called M cards. They were not called Megas, they were called M cards. So you also have to search that separately into the search bar. So this is just the full art EX from Furious Fist. I do like these EXs from back in the day. You have like the Japanese lettering. And then you have a lot of like action going on in these EX cards, like rocks flying around and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I think it's really cool. And then the secret rares from this era aren't my favorite. It's basically the same cards, if you can't tell. These are basically the secret rares from the old X and Y era. It's the exact same card. You just have the Japanese lettering in gold, and then the main border outline in gold, and, you know, obviously some of this like Mega Evolution text and like EX rules and stuff like that in gold. They do look pretty cool in person, but it is just a little bit, you know, not, you know, a little lazy for sure. So that's the Heracross EX. This is, I'm not sure why it's in two different spots. That should be the same card though, so I'm not going to cover that. And we are starting to get back a little bit older. So we have Boundaries Crossed here, 2012, 14 years ago. So yeah, once we get a little bit older, the reverse holos start getting a little more expensive. But I really enjoy reverse holos from different generations, especially like Platinum and Heart Gold, Soul Silver eras, and those kinds of things. If you've never seen any of those in person, they're definitely worth like $5, $10. You know, I think they look really, really cool. We do have the Heracross from Heart Gold, Soul Silver. With the washed borders again. Like this in a reverse holo would be a pretty sick card. Honestly, this artwork is so cool. You have Bell Tower, you know, from Gen 2. I'm almost 99% sure it's called Bell Tower. I don't know why. I'm doubting myself. Yeah, I don't know why I doubted myself. Yeah, no, but that's a super sick artwork for sure. These cards, the trainer Pokemon cards from like this era of Diamond and Pearl, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, that kind of stuff. I really do like these. These are super cool. Reverse is like $15, but yeah, man, these old school trainer cards are really cool. My Lottacat would win Cynthia the other day. But I mean, we're already getting to the end here. This is a really cool Ken Sugimori artwork, honestly. I like how he makes the Pokemon look so cool, and then, you know, very basic backgrounds. This is a very, very nice, just base card. Even in its highest rarity of a reverse holofoil, it's a $10 card. And these are the types of cards that I think look really cool in like binders and stuff like that. Even if you're not like master setting Heracross, if you like are a Heracross fan and you're trying to like, you know, make a nice binder, like these types of cards, especially when you have the old school Diamond and Pearl reverse holos, like that's kind of what this series is for, finding cards like that. Obviously, this card is awesome. We have the Heracross Delta species. I talked about it a little bit with Milotic in the last episode. If you are not too familiar with older printings in the hobbies, during Generation 3, there was Delta species cards, and they are really cool cards that give Pokemon typings and like vibes that like are not typical for that Pokemon. So obviously a fire type Heracross, you know, the card's a lot more darker than, you know, you've seen a lot of green and orange and bright colors and stuff like that with Heracross in most of his newer artworks. But the Delta species, he's kind of like, he has like a fiery glow to him. I mean, the card is so much darker, and even just having the red border, with the gold for the Delta species, even just having like the card being red when you're so used to seeing all the greens and sometimes oranges, like Delta species cards are just so cool. And especially back in the day when you had the reverse holo stamp that I talked about that actually has like the set on it, I'm really big fans of those, more so than like the single strike rapid strike ones from Sword and Shield era. These cards are just sick. This is also a rare, so it does come in holo foil. But I would suggest, if this is a card you're looking to pick up, honestly, I'd personally suggest paying an extra 20 bucks and getting like the reverse holo. I think it looks so much cooler. Then we have one of my favorite artists of all time, Tomokazu Kamiya. I just love his art style. Very popular. I mean, he's a lot of people's favorites. But this is actually a fighting type Heracross, which is cool. This is from Team Rocket Returns, which is one of the most expensive sets of all time. So I'm actually kind of surprised to see that the Tomokazu Kamiya reverse holo from Team Rocket is only 40 bucks. That's actually kind of surprising. Again, some of these vintage cards might not be like that up to date on TCG Player, so maybe this card has sold for a lot more recently, but this gives you a general idea. You know, maybe these aren't even near mint per se. I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, it's more so about like the card itself, not really the price as much, is what I'm kind of going through. But yeah, so you know, if you're looking up cards like this to buy and the price is like a little bit off or even way off, I apologize for that. I'm not trying to mislead you there. But yeah, these are supposed to be faster videos, so I'm just kind of going through it. But yeah, no, this with a reverse holo from Team Rocket, I think that would be sick, to be honest. Then we have a beautiful holo from Hidden Legends. Honestly, this is actually really cool. I really like the artwork on this one. About an $18 to $20 card raw, probably. In a decent condition, I'd have to imagine. And then the reverse holo going up to about 38. Now we start getting to the really cool ones. This Skyridge is super cool in my opinion. I really like this artwork. It's very unique. You know, he's like mid-slash, just a couple rocks. I think e-reader cards in general I tend to enjoy. E-reader cards can be very polarizing on people's opinions on them, because there is so much of this yellow, you know, kind of surrounding the card. So some people think that takes away from the card, but the thing for e-reader cards for me is there's just so much unique artwork in the e-reader series that hasn't really been replicated. I mean, if you look back at some of the crystal cards and the Blastoise and the Venusaur and the Feraligatr, like some of these e-reader era cards, man, they're just such unique and awesome artworks that have yet to be done anything even close to that since, to be honest. So I'm a big fan of e-reader cards. That card's awesome. Then we have Neo Destiny. I do like this one. It is a little goofy looking. It is just a normal, you know, uncommon, and then obviously first edition, since we're back in the old school eras. You do have first edition, but even then it's not that expensive. It is just an uncommon, but I mean it's a silly card for sure. I do like it, but this is definitely one of my favorites. You have a Neo Genesis holo. This like having him face to face with Pinsir, like him being like his rival. I think this card's super sick. This is probably one of top 2 or 3 for me, Heracross for sure. I just think that card's awesome. Obviously, first edition, it is rare from back in the day, so that means it is in the holo foil. And then obviously, first edition holo foil can get a little expensive. This is his first artwork, so. But I think it's awesome. The Pinsir like little ears in the background, super cool. So let me know what your guys' favorite are from the Heracross. I think definitely like one of the nicer, cheaper ones is that Mega Full Art that just came out in Phantasmal. Should be super easy to find that. Like I said, I think those are going to be really cool in the long run. I really enjoy those full arts. Obviously, the one from Paldea is very nice. This is probably my favorite, like basic, more basic artwork. And then obviously the Delta species is just super cool, man. Especially with the reverse holo and the Tomokazu Kamiya from Team Rocket. Super duper cool. and then obviously the base or the Neogenesis first ed is really sick as well. So please let me know what you guys' favorites are in the comments. And like I said, if you guys have any Pokemon in the generations 1 to 3, 1 to 4 range, please let me know. I will definitely do a video on literally the first comment I see. The next one I should do will be Glaceon. That will probably be a pretty long episode because I'm probably going to go on tangents about the other evolutions. I think it's just going to be nice to cover all of the evolutions kind of in one video, since a lot of them, if one of them has an artwork, they kind of like all do for a lot of the more modern stuff. That kind of got a lot of their artworks together. So I'm going to personally cover Glaceon because that is my favorite evolution, but I will obviously mention the other ones in that time. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a comment of anything you guys have. Please subscribe if this is, you know, a type of video that you're interested in. Maybe once or twice a week I'll be uploading these 10 to 15 minute videos just covering these Pokemon. And the longer you stay around, hopefully maybe you can comment and we can get to your Pokemon, like some of your favorites. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.